The sound of silverware clinking against fine china is usually a sound of celebration. But for Arthur, sitting at the head of his son's mahogany dining table in suburban Chicago, it sounded like a ticking clock. A clock that was being wound down by everyone except himself. Arthur was 72. For 45 years, he had been a man of numbers. As a senior corporate accountant, his world was defined by balance sheets, tax codes, and the absolute truth of a decimal point. He had calculated the risks of multi-million-dollar mergers, but he hadn't calculated for the silence that followed his wife Martha's funeral 2 years ago. "Dad, you're drifting again," his daughter Claire said, her voice dripping with artificial sweetness. She didn't look at him. She looked at her husband, Mark. "We've been looking at the Gables. It's a 5-star senior living community. They have golf, bridge clubs, and a 24-hour medical staff on site. You wouldn't have to worry about a thing." Arthur felt a chill that had nothing to do with the November air. "I don't play bridge, Dad," he said softly. "It's not about the bridge, Dad," David chimed in, leaning forward. "It's about safety. You left the stove on last month. You're living in a house with 3 empty bedrooms. It's a burden for us and for you. We just want you to be handled." Handled, like a piece of luggage. Arthur looked at his children, the people he had sacrificed his weekends and his youth to provide for. They saw a man who was failing. They saw a liability. But looking at the reflection in his wine glass, Arthur saw something else. He saw a man who still had one great calculation left to make. 2 weeks later, the calculation was complete. Arthur didn't move into the Gables. Instead, he signed a check that made his lawyer gasp. He bought 20 acres of rocky, neglected land in the freezing hills of northern Vermont. The locals called it the Widow's Spite. It was a farm that hadn't seen a plow in 30 years. The soil was depleted, and the farmhouse was a skeleton of rotting timber. When Claire and David found out, they didn't just get angry, they laughed.